you know goldenrod makes an excellent tea?
Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, dear Aaron.
Me. You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tomic's veteran of the comic book industry for 30 years. I'm a writer, I'm an artist, and this sucks.
Episode, Men Will Die.
Don't start! We haven't left yet!
She cooks nothing but chuck wagons, stew, and her name is Minerva. Ouch! She's the flower of the devoured coach.
Down she goes. Hey everybody, welcome. It is time once again for Aaron Live. It's that time of the week, Sunday, 4 o'clock Pacific time, where I give you the best of me, or at least an attempt. I'm going solo again today. I don't think Shelley will be back really until she gets her back fixed, which hopefully will be sooner than later. We're waiting on get another imaging done, and then they have to schedule surgery and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, it's kind of a pain in the backside for sure for her. But that's kind of where we're at. So it's just me. Well, so let me tell you what happened. I went and watched, I went to a local drinking and eating establishment. Some people would call it a tavern, perhaps, yesterday to watch the Nebraska football game. And I came home. Well, I brought both pairs of glasses with me, my regular long viewing and then the short viewing, and because I wanted to read the menu, right, to order some food. I get home, suddenly I can't find my close-up glasses. And I called there. They said, oh, we didn't find them. You didn't leave them here. So they're around here someplace, I guess. But what it has, in fact, forced me to do is actually wear my new ones that I just haven't switched over to yet. I got a new prescription. The thing with these are they're really good close-up when I'm drawing, but this kind of mid-range when I'm right in front of the computer, not as great as the other ones. So, you know, I'm managing. Yeah, that's a pretty compelling story, Aaron. Thanks for sharing. Let's see who's here before we get too far into what promises to be another spectacular show. Let's see. Helder 6480 was here first. And you know what you get for that? Nothing. But thank you for participating. We appreciate you being here. Squibs, he says, Kit Carter, let's go. Oh, there's going to be plenty of Kit Carter today and for the weeks to come. Brian Norton, best Monday show for me. Haha, love it, honestly. Well, thank you, Brian. I appreciate your honesty. Leg Kick is here because Leg Kick is almost always here. Mark Pengrin is saying, when is this launching, Aaron? Soon. I'll announce it when we get to the Kit Carter portion of our show, which won't be that long. Tarks9, all the way from Canada, is here. Dan, the Pizza Man Genovese, is here. H is for Heretic, says Tim Sheridan. Ha, ha, ha. Big L. Tim Sheridan. Oh, is that the guy that made the video about please read my gay golden age Green Lantern comic or something. Yeah, I'm dialed in. You can tell. Bill Maxwell is here. Randy Howell, all the way from Canada. Space Babe, Space Chimp, and Space Beer sounds like the outer space I want to explore. Caleb Reynolds is here. Citizen Ronan. Everybody's saying hi to everybody. Quoth the Raven, Lewis Bright Raven, as usual, says I have to cook dinner, so I'll probably have to catch at least the early stuff on replay. Hope all is well and that Shelley's doing well enough to appear tonight. Have a great show, Aaron. Thank you very much, quoth the Raven. We'll all be dreaming about potentially what you're having for dinner. Citizen Ronan's here. Stippling Vaughn says if Shelley isn't on the start of the stream, then I'm betting she's still locked in the bathroom. That's classic. She actually was. She locked herself in the bathroom. I was gone at watching the football game at the tavern, and we have a bad lock on the slider in our bathroom, and so you're not supposed to close it all the way because you can't get it unlocked. And well, she did, and she didn't have her phone with her. But so she was stuck in the bathroom for 15 minutes longer than she wanted to be, and apparently went MacGyver, used some cardboard pieces, and was able to jimmy the hook on the lock up so she could escape. And that's the story, and I'm sticking to it. But she is out and not trapped in the bathroom, as far as I know right now. Aldion is here. Marcus Kilgrim, purveyor of all things pop culture, is here. Let's see. Crystal McGee. Hey, Crystal, thanks for joining us. I was on a stream, one or two streams with you before. I can't remember. It was probably Shane's. Let's see. Gary Bruce. Hello, Erin Lepresti and Shelley. She's doing better. Thank you. Gary, you're representing yourself twice here. I won't say what your other name is in case you want to keep it secret. Citizen Ronan. One Wicked Evo is here. Great intro. Well, thank you. I worked hard on it. And probably I should update it a little bit, but too lazy. John Porton. Yes. Saved from Cecil's stream of degeneracy by the great Erin Lepresti. That's what I'm here for. I am a palate cleanser. And let's see here. Squeaky's here because wherever that other guy is, Squeaky's not far behind. Oh my gosh. Age is catching up with me. Why can't I think of his name? Well, you know who you are. Even though I apparently don't. Devil Flyer is here. Thanks for joining us. Brian Suddenly Old. I haven't seen Brian in a while. Thanks for joining us, Brian. The Geek Easy is here. Blackjack. Art Rich Studio is here. Cole King. Not Nat King Cole, but Cole King is here. George Lecoeur is here. David Blinn. Show me some of that Kit Carter stuff. I will back even before I receive my Wraith of God 2. I hope all of you will, because that's just how it's going to play out. I have fulfilled all my campaigns, so you don't have to worry about that. And as I said, the Wraith of God 2, or Wraith of God Blood Hunters, as it is affectionately known, is at the printers, and it's been there for 6 weeks or so. It's just waiting in line for your turn to come up. It's just how things roll, at least with me, because I went with the best printer and the biggest printer, and anyway, so it shouldn't be long now. Within a week or week and a half, I should have those back, and they will be shipping out immediately. But I had to start the Kit Carter campaign earlier, because if I waited till everything was shipped out, we'd be at Christmas time, and I can't launch during Christmas time because that's a bad idea. People are buying actually Christmas presents for their loved ones instead of buying comic books from me. So you kind of have to sort of space these things. So I hope that you'll trust me, that you will get your books, because you will get your books. But I have to launch Kit Carter now or wait till February, which I can't do either. So there you have it. David Blinn says, Aaron, if I thank Ethan for anything, it is for getting me introduced to your beautiful work. Well, thank you very much, David. I really appreciate that. Mike McMahon, Sundays, woo! Brian Blevins is here. Hey, Brian, ready for Kit Carter? He's always ready. Geek Avenger, there he is. That's who I meant. I'm here forgetting names is the first sign of senility. I've never been great at, instant recall, especially on names and stuff. But when you're live streaming and you're trying to think about what you got to say and you're programming everything, Yeah. So it's Geek Avenger and Squeaky is the super team that I'm referring to. Thank you for the $5, Geek. I appreciate it. I will go to my memory care. David Blinn says, plus you're closer to my age than anyone but Art to Bear. Yeah, you don't want to be too close to my age, that's for sure. Grey Wolf Graphics is here. Mike McMahon says he was just rereading my Metamorpho trade paperback. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Aldion says Kit Carter would make a good cartoon. You're not the first person who said that. My problem with it is I just think female hero. I mean, I can see a studio these days wanting to do something that would be a female hero, but there's just not an audience for that kind of thing. Dudes would be the ones watching it, and you'd have to make it saucy enough that dudes would actually want to watch it. And that's really not my cup of tea. But, hey, if someone comes to me and says, hey, Aaron, here's some money, I want to make a Kid Carter animated thing, I would go, where do I sign? So, yeah. Oh my gosh, the Geekies, you were at the Arctic Comic Con up there in Alaska? It's so funny. You guys have your code names up here, but sometimes I know who you are and sometimes I don't. I mean, I may know who you are, but I don't associate you with your name. This is me flying. Okay. Squib says, we need a good female hero. Well, that's what I'm here for. Not that I'm a good female hero, but I'm here to provide you with good female heroes. Yeah, the studio would make Kid K. They probably would, actually. Okay, so here we are. We're all joined together like one big happy family for a Sunday afternoon reunion. So let me take a moment here to provide you with this public service announcement. Dang it, I was slow. I was slow on Frankenstein. Let me try this one more time. There it was. Yeah, so we are well over 3,000 now, but I want to get to 4,000 for the end of the year. I think it's possible. I think we can do this together. So hit that like and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, please do. If you haven't liked, go ahead and do that as well. Even if you don't like it, have pity and push the like button. Appreciate it very much. Thank you all for joining me. But now it's time to eat.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
I'm going a little bit healthy today. I'm going to go with cheese. This is from Tillamook. Now, this is a brand of cheese here in the Northwest, actually in Oregon. There's a place called Tillamook, Oregon. I believe that is an Indian name or indigenous people's name. This is some sharp white cheddar. This is good eating. I'm a big cheese guy. I love eating it. I got a lot around my waist. So there you have it. It's that sharp bite to it. It's flavorful. It's really a thing of beauty. Before we get into Kit Carter, though, there's a guy that I have a great deal of respect for. I used to be Bernie Wrightson. Actually, I still have great respect for Bernie Wrightson, but we have moved on from Bernie, and now we're showcasing Frank Frazetta, the legend, because before there was Bernie, there was Frank. So let's take a moment while we're eating our cheese and take a look at the Frazetta image of the day. Now, if you'll remember, excuse my shiny bald head. I think the last 2 weeks. No, the first Frazettas we showed were the newspaper strip art that he was doing in the early 50s, trying to sell. Thank you for the dog. That he was trying to sell as a newspaper strip, and then recently we've started looking at those. Okay, if you hear the dog scream in pain, we'll just close the door. I won't touch our poor little dog. All right, so the thanks for joining us, folks. Good night, everybody. We're kind of showcasing those illustrations from the Doubleday hardcover John Carter of Mars books, which there are 4 of them that Frazetta did. And that one was from the Thuvia Maid of Mars. And that's one of my favorite drawings. And the Banth in that picture is awesome, but the figure work too, even from the Deja, or that might have been Thuvia, and then John Carter figure. I mean, just, the dude, like, he just draws 3 figures. We call it a little vignette, no background or nothing. And you're like, this is the most incredible thing I've ever seen. But it's Frazetta way, man. It's the Frazetta way. So, oh my goodness. His Fetterman imitation is spot on. You better not be talking about me. Let's see here. Everybody's like, Frazetta's amazing. Yes, he is. What was it? Hidden Hand Media says, I used to sell cheese. Tillamook has some good stuff. They do indeed. Marcus Killiger, look at that. They used to be our kind of like, you remember when Coors beer was like kind of hidden in Colorado, and the only way you could get it, because it was cold pasteurized, the only way you could get it was to actually go to Denver to get some, or certain states that were adjoining that area, but they weren't allowed to be sold in every state. Now, Tillamook cheese used to be an Oregon thing, but I've seen it all over. In fact, I've seen some in Florida when I lived there. That's about as far away as you can get. So I think the whole country now is getting to experience the wondrous Tillamook cheese. And they have in Tillamook, Oregon, which is near the coast, they have this huge cheese factory that you can go in and actually watch the cheese in these huge vats being made. And now, of course, they've turned it into the Disneyland of cheese factories, where you can go in, there's a restaurant in there, there's like areas where kids can play, and there's like a cheese shopping center, where you can buy all the different kinds of cheeses and different size packages, and, salami and crackers and all the stuff that goes with cheese. So they turned it into quite a little tourist spot there. John Porton says, the sharper the better for my cheddar. Ooh, see what he did there? In a rhyme. Squeaky says, my little sister went on a road trip to the Tillamook factory. There you go. Of course, Geek and Squeaky are in the Great Northwest, someplace. I won't reveal their whereabouts. Unintelligent Design simply says, Frazetta is amazing, and indeed he is. Yeah, well, at least Bernie before 1980. That's right. You know me, 1972 to 1980. That's where you want to get your rights in from. Christina Lynn's here. Thanks for joining us, Christina. Appreciate it. Is that GJA? Is that no, that's somebody else. Sorry. I was thinking that was GJ Martinez, but I don't think it is. But we can have as many GJs as this room will fit. There's Jimmy Reyes art. Jimmy has been illegally lifting some of my pencil drawings and inking parts of them, and actually doing a really nice job. It's funny when you're a professional inker. Now you got a really nice. I mean, I figured as much, Jimmy, because you obviously worked over Finch. But I just thought you have a real nice line quality. Very nice stuff. He also has Dragon Rage out there right now. It's still alive on Indiegogo. You might want to check that out. I'm sure he'll post a link in the chat at some point. Let's see here. Now, Geek Avengers say he lives in Seattle. Okay, there you go. I didn't out you. You outed you. I don't know. Does Tillamook have Romunda cheese? That's a good question. I don't know. I don't even know if they have blue cheese, which is my favorite. As disgusting as that sounds, I'll put blue cheese on anything. Well, I don't actually. I wonder, would blue cheese and chocolate, would that even work? I don't know, but I love blue cheese. I'll put it on hamburgers, put it on pizza. Not as like the soul cheese for pizza, but like as a sprinkle it on there with the regular cheese. Gives it a nice kick. Just say it. There it is, Jiminy Cricket sending out the link to Dragon Rage. Let's see here. Oh, what's this here now? Lizard Sauce in the Berg says, I have a Frazetta art calendar from the 80s. I keep it in my permanent reverence file. As well you should. Oh, man, those were the glory days, man. The 70s and 80s when the Marvel would have the calendars. And much like this one right here. Just happen to have one laying there, like the Mighty Marvel calendar from 1975. You know, you hang on to these long enough, you can just keep on reusing them. It's like every 10 to 12 years. Actually, it varies. It's not consistent. But this one they did, see, back in 75, they actually did like new art for this stuff. So like every piece on here was done for the calendar, at least as far as I know. It's a great one by Bruner. That's the Defenders. It looks like Romita, at least inked by Romita. Look at that. Of course, John Buscema, but he took, it looks like that looks like he redrew this, but that's obviously from the cover of Avengers 57, that pose and that Iron Man pose we've seen before. But it doesn't look like this has been pasted up. It looks like he may have recreated some of those poses, but look at that great Barry Smith Conan piece. Are you freaking kidding me? This is on your calendar in 1975. There's Buscema and Sinnott. Fantastic Four. Okay, these were not drawn for this. These were taken off something else. But that was taken off, I think, an annual or something. So, okay, not everything in here is new, but that's a great piece right there by Kirby. Look at that Plug piece. Are you kidding me? Yeah, baby. Daredevil, that's taken off a cover. I actually have the cover to this comic book that was taken off of. This, I believe, that's Sal Buscema. That was drawn for the calendar. So you've got like half the art in here. You know, it was new art for the calendar. I think that's pretty cool. Some guy 209 says, Aaron, did you have all the Monster Cereal action figures now? I remember you were waiting to get one last time I was in here. Yeah. I've got unboxing videos for all three of them. So I have Frankenberry, Count Chocula, and then I just got Boo Berry, which glows in the dark, like just a few days ago. And I did a unboxing video. So it's on, there's like two categories. If you go and visit my YouTube, it's live and then not live. What is it called? Live or recorded? It's not recorded. I think it just says videos and then it says live. So the videos has all the unboxing videos and stuff that I post. And so, yes, I do have them all now. Any decade with Buscema was a great decade, says Luffy is God. Or is it Luffy is God? Luffy, I think. Unintelligent Design says, all right, I pulled an all-nighter working, got a crash. Enjoy the stream, lads. Hey, thanks for joining us, man. Sleep well. It says that's Headless Bourgeoisie says that Sal Buscema Hope piece was used as the cover of a coloring book I had in the early 80s. Well, don't let anyone ever accuse of Marvel of not milking every piece of artwork they can for as many uses as they can. Okay, here we go. So Kit Carter is going to launch this week at on Wednesday. And I say that with some reservation simply because I'm still putting together the campaign page. I assume I'll have it done by tomorrow sometime, but you know. So keep your eyes on Twitter and social media and blah, blah, blah. But my plan right now, and I haven't even cleared this with the guys yet, but I'm thinking of launching on Graybeards, and then after Graybeards is over, I'll just light up a stream and go all night till midnight. If I can get EVS involved, I will. If he's watching the Phillies or whatever, I'll just do it myself. But that's kind of the plan. So get wound up, get excited. So Wednesday of this week looks like the date, probably around. What I'll probably do, what I'm thinking of doing here is starting the campaign at 12:30. That's Pacific time, 3:30 Eastern. And I will go on Graybeards 30 minutes before the rest of the Graybeards show up. And so I can spend time launching the book and without really eating into the showtime that much. And then when the guys show up, we'll just go into Graybeards, do it. We'll check on the campaign as we go. Then when Graybeards is done, I will then launch a continuation stream and we'll just go from there and see where it leads us. So that's kind of my plan right now. But as I promised, I want to give you guys, for taking the time to join me today, all 100 of you strong right now, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'll give you some preview stuff. Now, some of the stuff you may have seen on my social media posts, but I know some people are not on Twitter a lot or on Facebook or whatever. So maybe this will be the first time you get to see this. George LaCour says, is Graybeards a regular show? Yes. Meaning that it's I don't know if you mean, is it going to be a regular episode of Graybeards? Yes, it will be. Or is it regular every week? Yes, it is. So yes to both. Wednesdays at 1 o'clock Pacific time, right here on this channel every week. Unless, some of us are out of town or something like that. Gary's picking the categories. So at some point I will do Star Trek villains. But then you guys have to vote for them. So, you may not get them anyway. So I'll throw them out there. Honestly, we're all waiting for the next Cannonball. Well, we'll just see. We'll see who earns it. Okay, thank you, Frankie's letting everybody know I already signed up. Yes. So, I'll be sending out an email Tuesday night, probably, to everybody that signed up early saying, hey, giving you specific launch date, time, and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so is Michael Bancroft here? Oh, there is. Look at there is. May as well round up to 150. I missed something. I probably said something. You're referring to something in the chat or something I said, and now I don't even know what I said. Anyway, Michael Bancroft, of course, is in Australia. It's like a long way away. Okay, so let's take a look. Now, here's how the campaign is going to shake down. Oh, I have a nice, really cool video, but I'm not going to show it until I launch because there's two editions. That's what I was getting at right now. There's two editions. There's a hardcover, right? It'll be signed and numbered, limited edition, and it has like a little gallery of art in it that the paperback or the soft cover won't have. So, and I'm only doing two covers this time. One for the hardcover, which will be by me, and one for the soft cover, which will be for my guest artist. And that's it. It's not going to be four covers this time because we're doing this format a little bit different. This is a 64-page graphic novel. It's going to be 8.5 by 11, like the old Marvel style graphic novels. It's not small comic book size. It's 8.5 by 11, so it's larger. I just always wanted to do one, and I never got to do one for Marvel back when they were doing them. So I'm doing one now. So let's take a look. Here is my cover. Now, I will warn you guys, all these covers were mocked up for the campaign. So I'm not saying that I might not change a couple things here and there. The artwork's not going to change, obviously, but maybe the Planet Doom lettering will change or something. Background color, or they're on the edge there, the border. But this is what the hardcover is going to look like. And there will also be a stretch goal way down the line, like I think it's at 150,000 or something, where I will add a dust jacket to the hardcover if we hit those numbers. But that's what it's going to look like, the hardcover. And that's my cover. So if you want my cover, you got to get the hardcover. I'm sorry, that seems a little bit manipulative, but that's just the way it is. I didn't want to do, I don't know. There's something weird about this for me. And maybe it's just me, but it's like when you're doing a regular comic book size, it seems okay for me to do multiple covers. But when you're doing a graphic novel that's like larger, it doesn't seem like the right format to do multiple covers to me. So that's why we've only got two, the hardcover and then the soft cover, which makes sense to me because they're the same interiors, sort of, except for the additional material you get in the hardcover. But they're two kind of different things, right? There's a hardcover and there's a soft cover. They're the same size, 8.5 by 11. But so anyway, that's how my mind works. And so that's how I made that decision. But anyway, that's what that's going to look like. George LaCour says, inspired by Monkey Man and O'Brien. No, not at all, actually. I think probably inspired by Lancelot Link's Secret Chimp, was a 70s show when I was a kid, where they had monkeys chewing gum and then they would voice over. So they were always, their mouths were always moving because they gave them gum or something, and they would have human voices. It was like a monkey detective show. And plus also the joke that the first thing in space, right? The Russians sent up a monkey, right? I mean, that's so a space monkey is, I mean, it's pretty cliche actually. Nothing original on my part. And then Kit Carter was just a kind of a nod to the 50s sci-fi, B movie, bubble helmet, EC comics, all that type of stuff, nostalgia type space babe stuff. So again, these are two really sort of almost, I would say they're cliche icons, and I just kind of put my twist on them, right? So anyway, that's what the hardcover will look like. I'm not going to show you the soft cover. You're going to have to wait till the campaign goes live. But here's another thing that'll be offered on the campaign that I think is kind of cool. I'll be doing a sketchbook, but not like the Ruff's sketchbooks that I've been doing for the Wraith of God books. It just has like the page layouts in them. This is actually, it's amazing to me how much Kit Carter art I have, because this character, this whole concept, I came up with it like 12 years ago. I think 2010, so 13 years ago. And so I have a lot of stuff that's accumulated over those 13 years that you didn't even realize how much I had until I started looking through all of it. So this is going to be another 8.5 by 11 sketchbook. And it's going to be full color, not black and white. And it'll be, like I said, it'll be 8.5 by 11. So it'll be the exact same size as the paper, the soft cover and the hard cover, you know. So you can put them all together on your shelf. So this will be pretty cool that you'll be able to add on. I don't know how many pages exactly. I'm thinking probably 32. And I might do saddle stitch, which is staple on the spine rather than and do it on some textured paper. Humberto Ramos came out with a sketchbook a couple of years ago that I got, and he did a format like that, 8.5 by 11, and some paper with a little tooth to it. And it was saddle stitched. And I really liked the feel of it. It felt sort of artsy fartsy. And so I might go that direction with this. But we'll see. But I think it's probably going to be 32 pages. And again, like I said, full color. David Blinn says, I think I'm buying my first sketchbook. Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to do, man, is sucker you guys in. Okay, so let me show this. We'll show the stuff first. And I'll show you a couple interior pages. Now, some of you have probably seen this all over the interwebs because I've been posting it like crazy. But I'm doing I was going to do a full-size movie poster, but then what I really like as a movie poster collector, I love insert movie posters. They're 14 by 36 inches. So they're good sized. And they used to do these. They had a full-size movie posters, and they have these inserts, what they call insert movie posters. And I was a big fan of those. They're not as big as the other movie posters, you know, so they don't cost quite as much to frame. You don't have to have as much room to hang them. I really kind of liked it. And so I've always wanted to do one. And nothing says 50s B sci-fi to me than an insert movie poster. Jimmy says, is this going to be a stretch goal? No, it's going to be for sale. Now this, what I'm showing you is the color rough. Okay. This is going to be painted. And so it'll look like an old style movie poster painted by me. That's what we're going for, but this is the color rough. And most painters will do a color study before they go into the paintings, actually, so you know what you're doing before you get there. You're not like experimenting on the canvas. You know what you're going for. And that's why you do something like this. I couldn't get the painting done in time to launch the campaign. So I thought, well, I'll do the color sketch. I'll mock it up. So you guys get a pretty good idea of what you'll be getting. But again, this is rough art. This is not the finished art. But the layout is exactly what you'll be getting. And the drawing is pretty much it. I'll just light table the drawing and then paint it. But so this is, you know, layout wise and design wise and image wise, this is what you're going to be getting. But finished color wise, that's not what this is. You know, David keeps challenging me to do stuff in crayon, and I'm really good in crayon, and we should do that on Graybeards once and make everybody draw in crayons, and then we will see what we will see. So anyway, this will be also available as a perk on the campaign, or you can add it on to your whatever. But it'll be a full-sized insert movie poster on heavy stock. It won't be like thin, cheapo wall posters we used to get when we were kids. They'll be actually like a thicker, heavier, and it's not folded. It'll come rolled in a tube. So it should be really, really nice. All right. I need you guys' opinion. So I guess what I'll have you guys do, I don't know if I'm actually going to assign numbers to this, but here's what we're doing. We're going to have a Kit Carter t-shirt, but I'm doing it in 2 colors. The first one obviously will be in black because everybody has to have their black t-shirt, right? I've learned that. No, the last thing I did crayon was a long time ago. I did, I did a portrait of my wife on our first date, which we still have around here someplace. And I did the beast, like the furry beast in crayon. And sold it on eBay one time when I needed a few bucks. So, okay. So anyway, so we're going black. Okay, so this is the black t-shirt. There will be the Kit Carter black t-shirt. But here's the thing. I have a couple of choices that I can go with. I want to get your guys' opinion. I'm not doing gray because gray, as my wife said, that shows pit stains. It shows sweat. So, and she's right, it does. So we're not going to do that. But I have the option of this. So I want you guys to put what color out of these 2 in the chat that you prefer. First one is teal, which I kind of like. Okay, so there's teal. And then there's, I don't know what you'd call this. It's kind of greenish gray. Let me see here. So we have the teal. We have this sort of, it's kind of that same color as the Garbage Man shirt was on. This is kind of an olive gray. It's not really a gray. Heatherstone, it's called. So there's a light gray, which I didn't like. Then there's a gray, which I didn't like. And this is kind of a heather stone. So I'm trying to decide between this and the teal. Everybody's saying yuck on this. Teal is just winning. Geritol gray. I don't need Jiminy Cricket make a poll. I don't know how to make a poll. Just type it in. We got one wants Heatherstone. Teal is coming up. Everybody likes teal. Teal. How about MAGA red? And I don't know. I think it would get lost. There's a navy blue that looks really good on, but the thing is, navy blue is so close to the black. I'm not going to do navy blue and black. That's silly. All right, so it looks like teal. We'll take a look at it again. This was what I was leaning towards, but I thought, well, let's get the voice of the people. There it is. Teal. I kind of like that. I like the color of the shirt. And all right, you guys talked me into it. We're saying wine red. That wasn't one of the options I was given. Aldion says, yeah, teal, but I'm probably getting a black one. Yeah, but see, I can't put it on orange because there's too much orange in Merv back here. So yeah, there's too much orange back in here to put it on an orange shirt or a red shirt for that matter. So we got to go something, and most of the blue on Kit is contained within the orange. So there's just a little bit of, yeah, I'm kind of digging this. All right, we'll go with teal. No burgundy. Oxidized blood red. I'll see if that's a color, David, and see if they can help us out there. Okay, so you guys said teal. I'm listening. I'm hearing teal. So those will be your choices, black and teal. So that'll also be on the campaign. Now, let's take a look at a couple pages from the inside of the book. Some people would call those interior pages. I might do that as well. Check this out. Now, what I'm doing on this project is, this is the first page. what I'm doing on this project is I am having Matt Ryan, who inked me for years at DC and other places. He's inking this graphic novel. Why, you ask? Why aren't you inking it yourself, Aaron? I'll tell you why. Because I want to get 2 books out a year, and I've got a lot of friends who are unemployed right now. So I want to help them, and I want to get this book done faster so that I can get 2 books out a year from Empire Comics as opposed to just 1. Because if you want to try and get something of the semblance of a line of books going, you're going to have to do more than 1 a year, obviously. So that we'll see how this works out. But obviously, he's a brilliant inker. This stuff looks, it looks great. So I'm going to take a look at that line work in there. It's pretty awesome. Now you're saying, Aaron, that looks so freaking cool. There's no way anybody could possibly ruin that. Well, let's take a look at Kelsey's colors over that, and you tell me. Of course, I'm joking. Kelsey is brilliant. And so there's what the page looked like colored by our own Kelsey Shannon. Now, what he did do is he did glowing white eyes, and he's supposed to have glowing yellow eyes, so I'll have to correct that. Well, it's all about efficiency and quality, marrying those two, Mike. It's, and laziness, not really. I just take too much time when I ink myself, even on Wraith of God, where I only do sort of partial pencils and sort of do these rougher inks because that's kind of the way I want the book to look. Still takes me time. And this I'll just be able to pencil, although I have to pencil it tight. So I don't know, maybe I won't save that much time. We'll find out though. We will find out how this works. But spring is my release date for this book. That's what I'm shooting for. So we'll see if we can get there. But anyway, there's Kelsey's colors on page 1. Now check this out. These are the first 3 pages. Now the next is a double page spread. And that's kind of Kit sneaking up on the molten menace here that we like to call schmagma. Schmag, like magma. Just make sure we're clear on that. Anyway, so this hasn't been colored yet, but so this is kind of going to start like an Indiana Jones story where you've kind of, we're at the tail end of one adventure before we kick off into the new one. So, and there's some of this character appears in the Wraith of God Bloodhunters Kit Carter backup story. So you'll get a little bit of background on this that'll make sense why we're starting where we're starting here. Mike says, that looks sick, Aaron. Thanks. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. I know you're joking. Matt Ryan inked me on Wonder Woman, inked me on Ms. Marvel, inked me at CrossGen, inked me on Justice League. Did I already say that? I don't know. Herculoids. He's been guys inked me for years. This guy Aaron's really good. He should turn professional. I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to get up enough nerve. So anyway, that's kind of like some of the art and stuff like that you'll be seeing on the campaign page. I guess I just ruined a surprise for everybody, but I just thought it was important. You guys see a little bit of stuff that's going to be offered on there. And there'll be different combinations of different things you can get. Or you'll be able to get everything. We call it the kit for the Kit Carter Completist. There will be a perk for that. It'll come in a big box. See that big box behind me? Right back there. That was a box I was putting everything, make sure everything fit. Matt's not the camera kind of guy, I don't think. I will tell you who I will have as my guest. As soon as I reveal the cover artist, I have pressured him relentlessly because he's not big on, a lot of guys are not comfortable going in front of the camera. And so sometimes it's hard to kind of pull these guys out of their shell. But the guy, I told him, I said he has no choice. He has to come on with me once I reveal his cover. Tremendous illustrator. You guys are going to love his stuff. And so I'll have him on, not this week, maybe following week. Jiminy Christmas. People keep calling me during my show. It really pisses me off. Am I going to bother every once in a while? Are you bother advertising Twitter and Instagram with paid posts? Nope. I will not, because I don't know that they do that much good, and all they do is take your money. Heat Miser, is the poster going to be screen printed, or I'm not sure. It's not going to be a G clay, the Jiggly G clay. Those are way too expensive. So right now, the only code I have is on screen printing. So, Bill Stout came out with a portfolio several years ago. It was a Wizard of Oz portfolio, and it was G clay printed or whatever. $700. It's like, dude, seriously? I mean, they're too expensive. So anyway, so I want to show you guys. There's one perk. There's going to be a ton of original art perks. I want you guys to know that too. So heads up, if you want to get original art, get there early, because there's going to be several pages from the Kit Carter, or several episodes. They're pages, but they're called episodes. When I was doing the weekly strip, or trying to do a weekly strip, and those are all as part of the Kit Carter backup story, Wraith of God Blood Hunters. I think I have 5 or 6 of those up for sale. That's the only Kit Carter art I've ever sold, at least story art, and that's the only story art there is at this point. So some of those will be up for sale. One of the big pinups I did, where she's fighting that big lizard monster, her and Merv, that'll be up for sale. The t-shirt design will be up for sale. Before I show you this, since David Williams is in the chat, I've been talking about the trading card that you get if you sign up early, right, for the campaign, which I would like to remind you that the link to that campaign is in the description of this video right now. And I would urge all of you, even if you're not even sure if you're going to order the book, sign up early for it, just in case you do, so you'll get this card. I contracted with David Williams to do some cards for me. This is Click. This is one of the robots from Power Cubed. If you haven't read Power Cubed, that's okay. It's part of the Little Prestiverse. The trade paperback, I have secured more copies of that and Garbage Man, so those will be available as add-ons in this campaign as well. But this is one of the characters from Power Cubed, and David did. It will be colored, obviously. It's not yet, but this will be a trading card that you can only get through your early sign up. So sign up early, and then when you order, you get one of these for free. It's that simple. So this is Click, and the other robot from Power Cubed, this is a stretch goal card that everybody will get, provided we hit the stretch goals, which I assume we will. This is the Power Blaster. This is another robot from Power Cubed, and this, of course, will be colored as well. And this is, again, is David Williams. So David is providing 3 trading cards as part of the set of cards that will be available as stretch goals for this campaign. And then this is the big one. And you say, why, Aaron? Why is this the big one? This is Imperius. Okay. Now, if you backed Wraith of God, the graphic novel, way back whenever, what was it, 2 years ago now? It's amazing to think it was that long ago. Or it came out a year ago. I started working on it 2 years ago. This character was in the sticker set that you got with that. And he will have his own backup story in Wraith of God 3, which David will be illustrating. So he's an important character coming up in the Lopresti-verse, if you will. So this will be another trading card that will be a stretch goal that you will get just for ordering. And we hit those stretch goals, which I believe we will. Everybody will get these cards for free. David Blinn says, come on, we've all signed up. That's why we're here. Yeah, but there's always people that come in or maybe watching reruns that haven't signed up. I've got to say it. It's part of the promotional obligation that I have. So anyway, you got those 3 David Williams trading cards that are part of this campaign. There'll be more. Shelley has enticed me to do which I think is a great idea, an Empire Comics sticker that goes on the front of your comic book box. And so I have like the Empire Comics logo and then like a bunch of the characters on it. And you can stick it on the front of your short box or long box of comics and put all your Empire goodies in there. I think that's pretty cool. That'll be a stretch goal as well. So a lot of different things will be on there when this thing goes live. Now I want to show you, there's one other perk I want to mention because I think it's kind of cool. And excuse me while I plug my camera in because I'm so incredibly prepared. Come on, you lousy, get in there. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So there's going to be one perk where you can actually buy every rough that I do in the process of this book. It's just a one-time fee and you get everything. All right. So this is some of the stuff. And granted, I have not even started drawing the book yet other than those 3 pages. But look at this. This is the color rough that I did for the movie poster, right? So if you back that perk, you get that. This is the full-size pencil of that. You also get that. You get all the like page roughs. Like I was messing around trying to figure out the splash page, right? There's another one. I was designing the lizard for one of the pinup pieces. All right, that. Here's some roughs, full-size roughs for the cover. And that's the one I actually ended up using. And smaller roughs here. Another, movie poster rough. And then sometimes I forgot that I formatted this incorrectly. So I drew this much of the pages 2 and 3, and then realized, wait a minute, this is the wrong size because I'm doing the 8.5 by 11 book. And so like every time I screw up and have to restart, that goes in the pile of art that you get on that perk. So it's only, like all the other original art perks, there's just one of them. But that's one of the things you can back as well. And I've been doing that on the Wraith of God, and you get at least 50 pieces of art, and usually more than that. Like all the page layouts, you get all the page layouts. So just basically, if I'm doing any pinups or any work like that, any rough, that's part of it. So it's just basically the entire roughs of the Kit Carter campaign. So there'll be a lot of stuff on there. It's a very colorful looking campaign, very friendly, very welcoming. So I hope you guys will check it out when it goes live here on Wednesday. See, look at this. David Blinn says, beautiful. Thank you. But David, look at this. I thought I signed up, but didn't signed up today. See, there are people who haven't signed up. Michael Bancroft. It's going to be 1,700. Because what you can do is you can, a lot of that stuff you could sell if you wanted to. The only thing I ask is that whoever backs a perk, sometimes people will buy like roughs from me, then they'll go hire somebody to ink them. And it just drives me nuts because they're not finished pencils. They're not intended to be inked. And to me, that ruins the artwork. So don't get them inked. You can sell them if you want. You can piece them out and sell them. Keep some you want to keep, sell them, whatever. But anyway, so there you have it. That is kind of our little Kit Carter preview campaign. Again, keep your eyes focused on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I will be posting as the countdown begins before we go live. And if there's anything that changes and some of that, something alters, which I don't see happening, but it could, you'll know. Okay, so where are we at? It's time to move on, and it's time, folks, to take a look at my collection. I have both those books, by the way. All right, so as I recall, yeah, they used to be cheaper. And I kept saying, why am I selling this cheap? Because the amount of artwork people were getting was pretty substantial. So I raised it a little bit. Anyway, okay. So let's take a look at my collection, shall we? We're in the S's, if you recall. We did my Silver Surfer collection last week. And now we're still on the S's. There's a lot of S's, as you can imagine. So Silver Surfer was last. So we're going to move into, look at that. Shock Suspense Stories, number 13, 7.5. And look what it says right there. From the personal collection of Aaron Lopresti. That's to create this kind of false image that it's worth more than it's worth. Like when you go through to my estate sale after I kick the bucket and you find this, you go, ooh, that's cool. Now, the thing that's significant about this is it's the only Frank Frazetta solo work for EC. So in other words, the Jack Kamen cover, but let's let this focus here. There we go. But the story that's the cover image, there's a story about this in here, and it's penciled and inked by Frazetta. All the other stuff he did for EC, he was usually inking somebody else, mostly Al Williamson. But this one he actually penciled and inked, and it's the only story that he did for EC that he penciled and inked. And there it is, right in here, Shock Suspense number 13. I bought this as a 9.0, so I was a little disappointed when it came back as a 7.5 because it really... You can look at the corners on this thing. Reflection's kind of tough, but the edges and the corners on this book are really super nice. And I was like, how in the world can this be a 7.5? But I didn't get my magnifying glass out, and apparently they did. So it's 7.5, but it's still fine. I paid $120 for it like 20 years ago. So, I'm money ahead on it. Okay. This was a nothing book. Then it became a gem. And now it's a nothing book again. Well, it's not a nothing book, but this is, of course, Special Marvel Edition number 15. The first appearance of Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu. Check that out. That's how Starlin... Focus. Come on, baby. That's how Starlin used to sign his name, Gemini. There it is. So anyway, yeah, this was, I believe, Steve Englehart wrote it. Steve Englehart wrote it, Starlin drew it, and then I guess Starlin did the next issue, which I also have, which is 16, and then sort of abandoned it. I guess he felt like he was appropriating culture or something. But so this got really hot when the movie came out, and then it's been dying ever since. And when I say dying, meaning readjusting, because it's still several $100s, but it was up like over $1,000 at one point. And I got this on eBay for $27. It's a near mint copy, like when I was at CrossGen, so in the early 2000s. Because I had projected big things for Bronze Age books, and so I was buying them all up before they exploded. Skull the Slayer. One of my favorite books when I was a kid. I just reread it recently. It came out in a trade paperback. This may be the worst comic series I've ever read in my life. It's freaking horrible. There's one issue that Bill Mantlo wrote that was pretty good, or at least decent. All the rest is absolutely crap. And it's sad because I think Marv Wolfman wrote it, but apparently when he was editor-in-chief at Marvel, I think, and so he was obviously doing other things because this is a crap book. But it has dinosaurs, so I bought it. When this came out, I thought, Spider-Man #1. I was too too young to get on the actual Spider-Man #1. So when this came out in like 77, 78, maybe 77, I thought, I'm going to get this and it's going to be worth a fortune. Well, it's not worth a fortune, but it is worth a little bit, around maybe $100 or something like that. But I got like 4 copies. The lady at the 7-Eleven or whatever it was that I bought it from wouldn't let me take all of them because I think it was like 8 or something like that. I was going to buy them all and she wouldn't let me. So I got 4 of them. I have 1 left because I've used them to trade and stuff as time has gone on. But yeah, so that was Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man. Of course, I have this listed under Spectacular Spider-Man. That's why it's in the S's and not Peter Parker. But there you go. The second Spider-Man series, although you could consider Marvel Team Up his second series, but this is officially his second series. Okay, how about this? The Spectre #1. That's a Murphy Anderson cover there, 1967. Neil Adams ended up doing issues 2, 3, 4, and 5. I have those, and Wrightson did issue #9, which I also have. But I don't have the whole run. I just got the first issue and then the Neil Adams and Wrightson issue. This was when Spectre was kind of more of a superhero before he got really spooky, but still cool. Look at Marcus Killigrew, of course, knowing everything about this stuff, says it was signed at Gemini for he worked with Al Milgrom. Jim and I. That's pretty good, actually. So there you go. Randy, you're right. It was 1976, wasn't it? That Spectacular Spider-Man was 1976. Yes, and Sal Buscema is correct. Then we got this. To know her is to fear her. I don't really think that's true, but it is the Spider-Woman #1. Now, this is not her first appearance. Her first appearance, of course, was in Marvel Spotlight 32, but this is where she let her hair down from the costume and actually gave her the look that we're used to seeing. And is that Dave? No. JS. Who drew that? It's not Joe Sinnott. He wouldn't have penciled and inked that. I thought it was Cockrum, but it's not Cockrum. Who would JS be? Marcus. JS. Couldn't have been Joe Sinnott because Sinnott didn't pencil anything, did he? His special origin, all the world's against her. Well, typical female superhero. She's got problems. Now, how many of you guys remember this little strange gem from, I think, about 1975-ish? This is the Stalker #1. Now, this is interesting because it's Ditko inked by Wood. It's a nice little combo here. And actually, those of you who read my Wonder Woman run with Gail Simone will know that Stalker actually appeared in that first story arc that I did with the Barbarian Wonder Woman story. All right, how about this? Star Slayer #2, first appearance of the Rocketeer, or at least first full appearance of the Rocketeer. He was like in a panel or something and like coming next, the Rocketeer kind of thing. So it doesn't really count as an appearance, but technically I guess it does. But this is his first full appearance. The first Rocketeer story is in the backup of the Star Slayer book. Now, then you follow that up with issue 3, which has the second Rocketeer story in it. And of course, Star Slayer was the Mike Grell series for Pacific Comics back in the 80s. And then, interestingly enough, Star Slayer #5, second appearance of Gru the Wanderer. Huh? So there's your indie comics from the 80s. And then finally, to wrap up this week's episode of What's in My Collection, Strange Adventures 205. This is a 8590 copy. First appearance of Deadman. That's Carmen Infantino on the cover and the insides. Then Neil Adams took over in the next issue. But yeah, leave it to me to have the first issue of a spooky character. So that's a really cool book to own. This thing went through the roof. This is like in this condition, it's over $1,000 now. I think I paid $250 for it. And I thought that was a lot when I got it, 10, 15 years ago. But it just, in the last decade, has just blown up. So there you go, guys. That is what is in my collection this week. And we'll finish the S's out maybe next week. I think we'll be into Strange Tales next week. So, all righty. Well, that's good. I lost half my audience by showing old comic books, but hey, that's why we're here. Paul Brillard says, have the complete Dead Man run. I have the complete Dead Man run, at least in Strange Adventures. Really crappy condition. So whenever I can find one at a decent deal, I'll buy a near mint copy to kind of to upgrade the condition. Christina Lynn, where's Sailor Moon? I know some people have been begging for a cannonball, but that's going to get one on this show, right? Sorry, Christina. I hope that didn't hurt too bad, but don't talk about manga on this show. Let's see. Marcus Killiger said, I had those Star Slayers. Gotta keep them. Look at Mike causing trouble. Why are we looking through Aaron's junk drawer? Junk drawer. Oh my gosh. That's my retirement closet is what I like to call it. You say 9-0, I say 7-5. Boy, isn't that the truth. Jeff Potts, yeah, wake me up when the comic book stuff is over. She's celebrating her first cannonball. There's David Lynn. Got to feed the dogs. Thanks for the great stuff, Aaron. Can't wait to back KC. Thank you so much, David, for being here. I appreciate it. All right, but you're going to miss some of the good stuff. This is just the warm-up stuff. This is an epic show. I always tell you that every week, but I don't lie. Because if I believe it, it means it's true to me. We're going to bring back a little segment I haven't done in a couple weeks called Who's This Guy? Roger Castell. Who is Roger Castell? Let me tell you, Roger Castell was born in 1932, so he's a year younger than my mom. He's still alive, 91 years old. He's an illustrator. Most known for guys back in the day would have been mostly known for paperback covers and movie posters, and he's no different. We'll start off with some of maybe his lesser known stuff, working up to his more recognizable stuff. He may be somebody that you don't know the name, but you've seen some of this artwork. I can guarantee you that. So let's take a look at it because I'm a big fan. And I don't get it. Let's see. Jiminy Krieger. Roger Castell. He's stunned. Henry Jeremick says, but Aaron, I love looking at old comics. I talked David to sticking around. Okay, I'm switching to my phone. Imagine watching a comic book artist live stream and seeing comics. I know. Shocking, isn't it? Okay. I will give you his Roger Castell's web address after we do this little segment. All right, this is a piece he did of Bela Lugosi. You can get this through his website right now. The print of it signed by Roger himself. I thought this was kind of cool. I don't know that this was actually a published piece or just used for making a print type purpose, but still, it's Bela. I'm not a big Bela Lugosi fan, but it's a good painting. So, Henry Jarrett, see, some of these guys know. Jeremy says Castell used pastels. I don't know if he's joking or just trying to make a rhyme. I'm going to assume that he's trying to be funny and failing, which will get him this. May it also get you this. So I've got lots of little clips to share. Now, if you're a horror fan, you've got to recognize this. Let me rephrase that. If you're a horror fan and you read, you might recognize this. This is the cover to, it was a paperback called 50 Great Horror Stories. And of course, Roger Castell did the cover for this. And I remember this from when I was a kid, seeing this. And in typical fashion, it was like, I wanted to buy it just because I thought the book cover was so cool, but I thought my mom probably would have had a cow, so I didn't. George LaCour, Bela Lugosi's dead. Thank you for sharing. Appreciate that. This is true. Aaron is one of the few CGRs that actually knows comics. Isn't that weird? But it's really true. Andy Smith is another guy. Andy knows his stuff. And Graham knows his stuff to a certain extent, but Graham is really good on the older stuff. I love that. Liberace looks mad. So anyway, this I really I remember this being a really cool book cover when I was a kid. And now the thing about Roger Castell is he served in the Korean War in the Navy. And when he got out, he started working in commercial art. And he did commercial art like romance book covers and other things like that. And but he didn't get to be a household name until one particular item, which I will show you last. But this was also a paperback cover that I remember as a kid that really loved, called Creatures. Look at that giant crocodile head coming out of there. Very reminiscent of Jaws, right? And I think this was in the later 70s. But as a kid, a 12-year-old kid, or whatever I was, when I saw this, it was like, I wanted to buy the book, Now as an adult, you're like, what's that girl doing? But as a kid, you're like, look at that alligator. That's awesome. So this is one of my, and again, I had no idea who he was. In fact, I didn't know he did, well, I'll wrap this all up when I show the last image, but we rely on Graham for his Star Trek knowledge, except that he's somehow, and it may be just age, but he somehow thinks that Star Trek 1 is better than Star Trek 2. So, so you got to sort of take Graham's opinions on Star Trek with a grain of salt sometimes. Yeah, Henry Jeremic reminds me of Mask of the Red Death. That's a good point. It does. Look at that. Headless Bourgeoisie says he has that book. And of course, he's talking about the 50 Great Horror Stories. George LaCour says inspired by true Florida events, no doubt. So that's an oil painting, and you can tell because you can see the texture in the canvas right back there. See that texture there? But yeah, anything with a big dinosaur monster thing. Now this one, those of you who are comic book fans, pulp fans, will recognize this for sure. This was the Ron Ely starred in the Doc Savage movie in the 70s, if you guys remember this. And this was a movie poster that actually used the artwork on, like, Marvel did an adaptation. I think Buscema drew it, inked by Tony DeZanuga, if I'm not mistaken. And so they used this painting for the movie poster, but then also for the magazine that Marvel adapted from the movie. Interestingly enough, this is Ron Ely, who played TV's Tarzan, was not quite this buff. They were being generous here, but it's still a great movie poster. So this is Roger Castell, and it's funny because this feels more like a James Bama painting than it does what Roger Castell usually did. And I'm wondering if he kind of was going for that to pay sort of homage to the work that Bama had done prior to this on all the paperback covers, because that's really what this feels like. I'm looking to see if, and I'm going back in the chat to see if Marcus Killigrew actually was able to come up with the name of the JS who did the cover to that Spider-Woman #1. I'm not seeing it. But anyway, this is a great piece regardless, right? And I had no idea. Again, all these images, I didn't know that Roger Castell did all of these images until just a couple of years ago. Now, speaking of insert movie posters, which we were for the Kit Carter campaign, I have the insert movie poster of this. And again, I've got it because I like the artwork. And I didn't realize that it was Roger Castell, but it is. So they got Sean Connery, Donald Sutherland, and of course the lovely Leslie Ann Down. This is a Michael Crichton film, which I also was completely unaware of. Of course, Michael Crichton wrote Jurassic Park and many other very popular sci-fi novels, and he's directed many films too. So it's kind of interesting how he's bounced back and forth between a novelist and a filmmaker. Jiminy Cricket says it was Joe Sinnott. How about that? Okay. So Joe Sinnott penciled and inked that cover. Wow. All right. So anyway, another tremendous painting. You know, the good old days when movie posters used to be painted before AI, before Photoshop, before photo manipulation. This is the good old days, my friend, right here. We're going to miss these. I mean, they're already gone, but it kind of saddens me to think that, you know, even just 20, 30 years from now, there's going to be a whole generation of people that just, this doesn't even register with. Jimmy Reyes says the Great Train Robbery was an MC novel, like Marvel Comics. Is that what that means? Really? Headless Bourgeoisie says old school movie posters made every movie look like it had to be great. I know. And that's, you know, it's the same thing with the trailers. You know, if they did good trailers, it's like, you know, you had to make it. If you couldn't make a good trailer, your movie really sucked. Okay, now here's one that maybe you guys might not know. Pretty famous. That our good friend Roger Castell did. How about that? The Gone with the Wind, Empire Strikes Back movie poster. How about that? That's a tremendous piece right there. This may be my favorite of all the Star Wars posters. There's one other one I really like. Can't remember who the artist was on it. But Struzan did one that was really good, but I think it was a re-release poster. Christina says, now every movie poster is just red and blue. Indeed. Well, Squibs, you're right. Digital is just easier and cost effective. Sadly, it is true. But man, but that's the thing. I mean, you almost either have to be someone who appreciates art or an artist to really get into this stuff. And most people are just, you know, whatever the image is, oh yeah, they don't care how it was done or anything else. No, not this one. This is Roger Castell. There was a Star Wars movie poster that Drew Struzan did. It was very much a Leyendecker, in a Leyendecker sort of style. I can't even remember if it was for Star Wars. I think it was for Star Wars. I'd have to look it up. But yeah, this is Roger Castell, not Struzan. But Struzan did do one of the Star Wars posters, or one of the variants, because they did so many. It's almost like comic books. They did so many different versions for different purposes and uses. That's an excellent question. No originals with digital, though. I wonder how much these paintings sold for. Boy, that is an excellent question. I saw, and this is 15 years ago or more. Somebody, Mitch Ickowitz, who was an art dealer at San Diego, had a Bama Doc Savage book cover original art painting. And I'm going to say it was 10 grand, 12 grand. Oh, I would guess this. Of course, this is Empire Strikes Back, right? So I don't know, 100 grand, 150 grand, 200 grand, maybe. I mean, it depends on how much nostalgia the person buying it has, but it would be a lot, would be my guess. Berkey, yes, I know which one you're talking about. That's a good one. Okay, so and here's the one that got me thinking about Roger Castell and what else he had done, right? Roger Castell was just a guy doing book covers and illustration, making his way. He got hired to do the cover for the paperback of Jaws. Okay. Now, the hardcover came out first, and it had a really terrible image on it. It was like all black, and it was similar to this. Had a woman swimming, but it had like this beluga-looking white whale thing. It was very stylized. It wasn't impressionistic. It wasn't like supposed to be realistic in any way, shape, or form. But it was just completely ineffective, I thought. And when they did the paperback, they came out with this new cover, this one, and this is by Roger Castell. Now, of course, this became one of the most iconic images in the history of iconic images. And this sort of, then he became sort of this household name in illustration, and used this because Universal came in and loved this so much, they bought the rights to use it as the movie poster. But this was originally the paperback cover. And so then that catapulted him to doing movie poster, paintings and other stuff as well. This is one of my favorite film images of all time, movie poster images, but also my favorite movie of all time, as you guys know. And so at one point, a couple of years ago, I was like, who painted this? And so I looked it up and said, oh, it's Roger Castell. And so I was looking at his stuff and I'm like, oh my gosh, he did this. He did this. He did all these different things that I was completely unaware of. And now we're all aware of the greatness of Roger Castell. So I want to, yeah, it was, but again, it was 15 years ago. I mean, that same thing would probably be 30, 40,000 now would be my guess. So let's, I don't know Roger. I'm simply sharing his work with you guys because I like it. And I think it deserves greater recognition. But if you want to go check out his work, and like I said, he's still alive as far as I know. And, but you can buy prints that are signed by him and everything, right? This is basically rogercastell.com. And take a look at a lot of the work he did. He did romance novels with Fabio and different things like that. So it's, David says, looks like he did Silence of the Lambs. Was Silence of the Lamb a painted? Oh, you're talking about the book cover probably, right? Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I think he probably, did the gator thing, kind of reminiscent of his Jaws. Boy, I don't know, 91 years old. That'd be like interviewing my mom. Should I go grab my mom and we could talk about how she bags and boards your books? Oh my goodness. I kid because I care, obviously, about my mom. But anyway, there you go. If you want to check out his stuff, I highly recommend doing so. He's got some really good stuff. So anyway, there's a little, that's our episode of Who Is That or Who Is This for this week. You might be saying, Aaron, please, I can't take any more goodness. But there's plenty more where that came from. let's take a look at some other artwork that actually no, let's take a look at some artwork. All right. I just got a couple pages I want to show you guys because I think it's kind of interesting. Now, some of you may or may not know that I did a book for DC Comics called it was a Dark Infinite Crisis Dark Multiverse. And it was basically a what the telling of the Infinite Crisis if it had gone a different way. We have this character here, who I think was designed by Roquefort. I might be mistaken, but I think it was. And this is the first page of the story. So I thought, wouldn't it be clever? And this is what you get for being clever. I thought, what if we had this guy open up, start talking, about this story. He does the intro for the story, much like the Watcher did in Marvel's old What the stories. And so he's talking about, the events of Infinite Crisis and Blue Beetle and all this kind of stuff. And I thought, wouldn't it be interesting as he tells the story, we move the camera around so we slowly reveal him, right? So we're behind him here. And I was doing all this leading eye stuff. I really put a lot of work into this. This is the only prestige format book I ever did in my career. Obviously, I'm doing them now through Empire Comics, but for DC or Marvel, this is the only prestige format book I ever did. So I really wanted to be cool. This is inked by Mount Ryan again as well. So I was just, leading the eye. So the feet come down here and take you over here. And then this takes you down here. And then, and then it takes you down here and off the page, right? So I was really trying to be clever. But I thought, wouldn't it be interesting? We start from behind him. And as he talks, we start to reveal him. So then we're and then we get kind of a 3/4 here, right? As he speaks, and then straight on there. So I thought it was being really clever and really interesting. And what you find out, especially in comics, the harder you try to be clever and interesting, the less people notice it or care. But my editor came back and said, this really needs to be more of a splash page. It's the first page of the story. We really need something more dynamic than what you've given me. And I couldn't really argue with it, because I was trying to be cute. I was trying to be interesting. I was trying to be, next level storyteller. But I got away from the basics of what make comics great, and that's dynamics, right? So I had to abandon this after it was already penciled and inked. And I don't know if Matt got paid. I didn't get paid for redoing this because I guess technically it was my fault. The work I was hired to do was rejected. And so I had to go in and redo it. And so then I did this instead, which is a way more interesting and dynamic opening to the book. But I was still trying to do the leading eye thing, right? So now we start with him actually facing us, right? Still same premise, though. He's floating in this galaxy talking about whatever. And so we start here, right? And then the cape takes us over here. And this zips us down here to this guy. And so then we get this, but he's facing this way, right? But I have his hand kind of turning this direction. And then this pole supposedly leading us off the page, right? So I was still trying to get cute, but I was doing it in a more dynamic fashion. And of course, this is a way, way, way more dynamic opening page. It's just not as intellectually stimulating. So what are you going to do? So again, this is me trying to be clever and then having to go back to comic book 101 basics, saying, you know what? Dynamics sells, folks, not your cute little attempts at being clever, more clever than the next guy. But anyway, I'm happy with both. I think this is a real striking image with all the, the lighting effect and everything on here. But I'm really happy with this too. But as you can see, for maybe opening a story, it's not quite as dramatic. Obviously, it's not as dramatic, but maybe not as effective as this other one is. And this is the one that ended up getting published right there. So either way, but I wanted to pull those out of the old flat files, share a little storytelling experience with you, and I feel better about myself. Says Resistant Ron says, sorry, I can't pay attention. I'm looking at Roger Castell's artwork. This might help wake you up. There you go. Citizen Ronan gets the second cannonball of the show. All right. So as we move along through my vast programming schedule for this show, let's see what you guys have to say first. See if I didn't miss anything. That's a great Christopher Lee. Yes, of course, he's talking about Roger Castell. David Blinn says, it was my bad. The site I was looking at showed Silence of the Lambs movie cover in conjunction with Castell poster search, but the article included him for Star Wars. It said Don Bailey did the poster. Again, now, the Silence of the Lambs poster was photo manipulation, right? It wasn't illustrated. Not that I remember. I'd have to go back and look at it. Of course, that doesn't mean an artist didn't put it together or execute it. So, Jimmy Cricket says, great work, Aaron. Love seeing your process with these pages. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Christina Lynn says, can't take anymore. Got my cannonball. I'm on my way. Thanks for joining us, Christina. Appreciate it. Jimmy Reyes says, so what you're saying is you got paid you didn't get paid to think, but you got paid to draw. That's pretty much it. And what did Kirby say? I don't get paid to erase, so he never did. Perhaps true. Let me remind everybody, I'm going to take a second here, that if you have not signed up early for the Kit Carter campaign, which goes live on Wednesday of this week, please make sure you sign up early if you want to get that David Williams trading card for free that we previewed earlier in the show. And if you're here late, after we're done, go back, take a look at the beginning so you can catch all that extra stuff. He's looking in the chat. Quick, pretend we were listening to him. Sure, Lopez. Well, you guys are coming on strong here. So there you go. That's what you get for that. Pantheon says, Aaron, I'm very curious. When you were in the industry, did you ever send off thumbnails to your editor first? Again now. Rarely. I did it on Planet Hulk because I was working with another artist. We were doing rotating story arcs. And so I would send all my layouts to Greg Pak so that he could see what I was doing and the editor could see what I was doing, Mark Panisha. And so they could make sure that, I don't know, just that they had a better control of what was going on. I don't think I ever had any changed. But maybe my first job at Marvel, they might have wanted to see some layouts. I don't even think that's the case. It's very rare. And then some people later in my career said, hey, we want to see some layouts. I said, well, you may want to see them, but you're not going to, because it's like, no, been doing this long enough. I don't need your inexperienced editorial input telling me how to lay a page out. But then again, every once in a while you do something like I did there and they say, I don't like it, change it. So, might have been beneficial for me to show them what I was doing. But since the fact they didn't change it till after it had already been penciled and they'd okayed the penciled, inked, and okayed the inks, and then changed their mind. So layouts may not have helped anyway. So, thank you, Henry. Appreciate that. %, Zad says, people keep saying Aaron should go pro, but I don't think he has what it takes for the mainstream. You see, he draws well and isn't an insufferable a-hole. Thank you. And Dino wants to know, Aaron, why is Aaron always attacking the fans? Self-defense. And Dino, it's self-defense. I'm not even going to respond to that. That's a cheap attempt to get cannonballed, and I'm not going for it. Leg Kick says $2. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, man. Hey, get yourself some chocolate. Thank you for that, Leg Kick. I will. I just might get myself some chocolate. So there. Okay. Okay, so this is what I've got next for you guys. I know you're just like, what could he possibly have in store for us? It's time to return to the good old days of Aaron's top 5. I'm not sure if I did this before. Like, I don't think I have, but I may have. But if I have, and some other sort of guys, we're doing it again. And what you'll find is that probably my top 5 has changed, because that's the one thing that's kind of silly about Frazetta, for example, or, you might know your very favorite painting, but then it's like, okay, give me your top 5. It's like, it could be any one of 100. But I'm spending most of my time on the Frazetta of the day images showing you black and white stuff, because I think that's the stuff that you're probably less likely to have seen before. So I'm not going to show a lot of the color stuff, because we've all seen that ad nauseum. But I am going to do that anyway and show you my top 5 favorite Frank Frazetta paintings. Ladies and gentlemen, number 5. I had to do a lot of soul searching and wrestling. And I came up with this. This probably wouldn't make anybody else's list, but it makes mine. This is the paperback cover art for Tales from the Crypt. Yes, they did a paperback and novelization of stories, EC stories from Tales from the Crypt. I believe, was it Joe Orlando? I may be mistaken. Don't quote me on that. My guess is Marcus Killigrew probably knows. But I've always loved this painting because it's creepy. It's very simple, but of course, a lot of Frazetta paintings are very simple. They're focused on a single image or a couple of images. They, just brilliant the way that through simplicity he draws you in, and obviously great illustration. But I don't know, man. I like the old Crypt Keeper dude back there with the lantern, the hands coming out in the foreground. It's a very simple painting, but it really is. It would be on near the top of my list if I actually had enough money to spend on a Frazetta original. Let's see. Jeff, you've been angling for a cannibal all day, but Christina beat you to it on the manga stuff. So I am just going to click you off, and you're not going to get your cannonball for that. You're going to have to come better than that. Andino says Andino is no cheap attempt. Well, we'll see. Oh, see, there's some more spam bots coming hard with the manga stuff. It's gonna do better than that. Yeah, it is kind of clever. Sign your name on the tombstone there. I don't think he just put 1964, which I guess is when he painted it. Henry Jeremick's got his list. I like the saber-tooth tiger versus pterodons and mammoth versus saber-tooth tigers. I love Frazetta's pencils, inks, and paintings. He is amazing. Indeed, he is. Elmer, oh, be fair. Is it like, oh, behave? We need a cannonball tier for the next campaign. Nornrad 2 says, leave Aaron alone, you monsters. That's right. Somebody has my back out there. All right, so that's my number 5, but that's all good and well, but it's number 4. This isn't the most famous painting of this character, but it's my favorite of his paintings of this character. That is, of course, the Death Dealer here. Everybody, of course, the first one, I believe, was the one on the horse, right? But this is the one I like the most. Let me put that little red there in the background, kind of draw your eye in. And And you get that little red glow around his eyes and stuff. And like the red highlights there on his arms and his chest. Frazetta did such a great job of creating volume, and he put the detail where there needed to be detail, and he just kind of, let everything else sort of fade away. So you're always looking where you're supposed to be looking, and this is so, painting 101, but, a lot of people don't really think about it, but your lightest areas of your painting are right here, right? So your eyes are going to go right here, and he's got that red in there, and then the almost white highlights on there that draw you into this. And these guys down here are fairly detailed, but they're darker, right? So these are kind of an afterthought. You see them there, but your focus is here where it should be, right in this area. And so he's not, a good painter, obviously, or colorist, even in comics or something. You're gonna do what you can to not just let the image speak for itself, but the black and white image, but use the color to draw the eye to where you want your focus to be. And that's the problem with, people that go just nuts with detail all over the entire page. It looks cool from just sort of a detail cool, but how effective is it really when most people are drawn, their attention is drawn just for, you've got a couple seconds to catch somebody. And the most effective way to do that is to make a single part of the painting or the illustration that you want someone to look at, make that, you paint it in a way, you light it in a way, you draw it in a way, you place blacks and lights in a way that it draws their eye right to where you want them to see. And we don't want people down here, looking at this guy's tail and his butt. We want people right here looking at the death dealer. And then after you experience this, you go, wow, that is so cool. That you can kind of look around and see the other stuff. And this is just a real effective, obviously Frazetta did that a lot effectively, and a lot of guys do. But this is a prime example of how to do that effectively. So I really, really dug that one. So that would be my number 4 on there. All right, let me see if I can make heads or tails of this. Luffy says, please, Frazetta got hold. Please, he says, there should be a comma there. Please, Frazetta got hold of Buscema's old sketchbook and added paint to it. Glorified inker. Frazetta was doing this before John Buscema was, I think. I think it's more likely that Buscema was inspired by Frazetta than the other way around. There's Kurt Chumsland, my second cousin on my mother's side. Hey, Kurt, how you doing? It's not what isn't. It's what isn't said. He's so correct. Leg Kick says, I admired the guys who followed Frazetta, Vallejo, Bell, and Jesco had strong showings of influence by Frank. Yes, of course. Actually, I liked Boris Vallejo's work early on in his career in the 70s when he was doing like Marvel Monster magazine covers and was doing some book covers. I thought his stuff got too photo reference heavy. And I know it was a faster way to work, and I get that from a commercial standpoint, but I just thought his stuff got a little bit stiffer and didn't have the same energy. If you look at like a painting like like his the Gore book covers, or like one of my favorites is I Am a Barbarian, the book cover for that. It was Edgar Rice Burroughs' book. That's like prime Boris for me. There it is. Boris, became too slick. His early stuff, fantastic. See, when you start using photo reference, like what Boris would do or does do, I don't know if he's, what he's up to these days, but he would take, and if you get his book, he has a book that he came out on his painting technique. And so I'm not giving you any new information, but he actually would take photographs of people, pose his models, right? And he got into bodybuilding. So all of his, a lot of his models were bodybuilders. He'd take the photos, basically trace the photos or light table the photos on vellum, and then transfer those onto the onto the painting, whatever he was painting on, whether it was a board, a canvas, whatever. And what that did was it saves an enormous amount of time, obviously, of drawing and redrawing characters to get them in the right pose. But what it also does is stiffens everything up because everything feels like it's a posed photograph. And a lot of his work had that feel to it. And if he's watching this right now, he probably would kill me if he ever met me face to face. But that's just how I feel about it. I think a lot of people did too. That stuff got too stiff and too commercial, dare I say. But his earlier stuff was had much more organic feel to it, and was much more pleasant to look at. And Julia Bell, of course, who he trained, uses the same technique. So I don't find her stuff, any more and much different than Boris's new stuff. It's his older stuff, though, that I really like. Did I say muscle builders? I meant bodybuilders. What did I say? Yeah, his second wife, you mean. Are those black by? Yeah. No, they're not. I made copies of every single page of artwork. He's talking about the binders behind me in the bookcase. Back there and back there. There. I would scan every page I penciled for every comic we've ever done. And I put them in binders. And those binders are full of all the comics I've done throughout my career, with the exception of the stuff I really did early in my career before there were scanners. And then I've got Xeroxes of all those pages, but they're stuffed in a couple of FedEx boxes. But that's the majority of my work is in those binders and pencils. In fact, I'll show you since you brought it up. Let's see what we got here. Let's pull a random one out of here. Here we go. Herculoids, baby. Why not? So, yeah. So these are like my pencils. And these are much nicer than Xerox copies because I would scan these on my scanner, then print them out on my beautiful Epson printer, and then I would just keep a record of them. And so every page I've drawn for at least the last 25 years I have in these binders. So anyway, and then when I got, when I was really organized, you can see my pencils are pretty freaking tight. But I'd separate them with the cover, and then there would be the pencils from that issue. Right. So anyway, I got all my Wonder Woman and everything else back in there. And that is what's in those binders. And Dino says, Aaron, you don't need all that junk. Send it to me. Thank you. Okay. Shipping's a lot, though. These are really heavy, so it's going to cost you quite a bit. And let's see. Let's see here. I think we're on to number 3, aren't we? What is number 3? Oh, this is one of his later paintings, but I really dig it. And I think a lot of people do. Fire and Ice, right? There were a painting for the movie poster. There was also a portfolio of which I have that were some pencil drawings of his that were in the Fire and Ice portfolio from production art from the movie, I guess, or illustrations used, design work, whatever, for the Ralph Bakshi film. I found the movie to be fairly amusing. I finally watched it not too long ago, maybe not even a year ago, for the first time. And it cracked me up that the shots that Bakshi had of this girl just kind of rolling around and, some pretty choice angles. And I thought the story was okay, but I thought it was a little bit underdeveloped. But it was cool for what it was. And I just, again, you know, Frazetta is not afraid to kind of use bold colors like that red, and then, you know, this kind of icy mountain range, cliffs, whatever back here. So you've got red and blue back here and a little bit of purple and some green in there. And again, look at how highlighted these guys are right here. And of course, he's your focus, but he's got all that red behind him. Oops, get out of there. And this guy, this caveman dude, much darker. These guys down here, it's not like they disappear, but they're not all that different than what we've got going on in the background here in terms of value. They have some highlights here, of course, but in the color scheme, it's very similar to the rocks. I mean, this guy's skin is practically the same as the rocks here. But you got this guy with a really warm sort of orange, you know, at least this part of him right here. And then it gets darker down here because we really don't care about that. And then, of course, you got this girl's boobs are just glowing. And then, of course, your main stud up here with all the red behind him. I just thought this was a really, really good, dynamic, heroic looking painting, especially, I think this was 1980, 83. So this is really later in Frank's career, and just what a great, great piece this is. So that makes number 3 on my list. How about number 2? This might be a lot of people's number 1. Again, there's so many great ones. It's hard to. Everybody's loving Fire and Ice. Randy Hall says, Andy Smith is going to sell a sketchbook of his pencils, inviting people to scan it in and ink it themselves. Awfully friendly of him. No, that's a good idea. So is this. This is Conan the Destroyer. I love this painting. I don't know if this is an actual color. This is not, I don't think, an accurate color depiction of this painting. But it's still great. Although you got to wonder why this guy's in a battle naked, or did someone just pants him? You know, this guy's got his little tunic on. This guy looks like he's wearing his jeans a little low right here, and the butt cheeks are showing. This guy is just flat out butt naked. Now look at that skull right there on a spear. The swords and axes and stuff are just awesome. But I just like this sort of mass of humanity he's got going on in here. And then you got Conan right here just wailing on these dudes. Now, he didn't really do as much to separate this color-wise. I mean, he's got some hot highlights here and here. But what you have is this sort of mass right here. And then Conan sits on top of the mass. He's like at the peak of the mass, right? So he still stands out. Your eye still goes right here, because this is all just like one big shape. And then you have this sticking out of the shape. So again, composition-wise, it's brilliant. The Romans said some of the Britons would fight naked. Well, there you go. I think I would put something on to, cover some vital spots, you would think. But hey, maybe that's how they did it. There you go. Randy Howell backs him up, says the Celts or Celts. Well, it'd be the Celtics if you're a basketball fan. It's the Celts if you're not. And the Celts would often fight naked. Okay. Well, I hope it was warm. Wait a minute now. The Celtics, they would have been from European. The barbarians were all European. So it's like, that's like cold. Will they only fight during the summer? I mean, you're not going to go out and fight naked when you're freezing your butt off, would you? Of course, if you're fighting Conan, you're not going to be alive long enough to worry about it. But interesting. Headless Bourgeoisie says, Frazetta revisited and made changes over the years, if I remember correctly. That's probably true. He went back and messed around with a lot of his painting, like Sea Witch. He went and he messed around a lot with that one, which was never one of my favorite paintings, and I liked it even less after he messed around with it. That is not confirmed at this point. Matt Barr. Thanks for joining us, Matt. Appreciate it. Hail Aaron, great Conan. Yes, I wish I'd done it. Marcus Killiger says barbarians don't care about shrinkage. Look at Randy. He knows about barbarians. Is that a Kelly or a Sully would want to show off their blue circle body paint? Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, Kelt. I gotcha. All right. Elmer says a sublime depiction. I could enjoy it, but I wouldn't want to be there. No, that is for sure. I mean, it'd be all right if you're Conan because you know you're going to come out winning. But yeah. So anyway, that's my number 2. I really dig this. It's just got a lot of energy and it's just a real powerful. But my number 1, and I've shared this before, and I shall share it again. Oh, wait a minute. I got to do my little intro thing. Took the time to prepare it. I might as well, actually use it. Here we go. My number 1 Frazetta painting all time is Back to the Stone Age. And yes, once again, we have a naked man's butt. So I don't know if you can read between the lines there or what, but for me, it was the mammoth in here. And believe it or not, even as a kid, I liked how he painted his hair. That sort of thick, sort of whooshiness. All these vines and stuff like this. Trees are just like, there's the whooshiness of the hair. These trees are just like, it's like they're alive, man. No, man, this book, Back to the Stone Age, this may have been the first Frazetta image I ever saw as a kid. And that's probably why it's my favorite because, of course, it takes me back to my childhood. And most of us are products of what we were experienced at a young age, right? So, yeah, look at that. Green Lantern says it's Khazar. I have friends who pronounce it Khazar. Has anybody ever pronounced it Khazar? I've always pronounced it Khazar. I don't know. Spambo says, I'd rather not visit any land before showers. Wait a minute. Dennis, are you kidding me? It's the first time you've seen that Frazetta? This Frazetta piece is the first time? Wow. I'm glad I opened your eyes to a whole new world. There's Craig Smith. The second is joining us. Frazetta art was ahead of his time. I like the painting he did of Bo Derek for the movie she was in. That was Tarzan. I think, wasn't that the Tarzan movie she was in? That he did the painting for the movie poster? Pretty sure. It was like The Legend of Tarzan or... yeah, and the Tarzan guy was like Miles O'Keefe or something. He was this big, buffed, curly-haired guy that we never saw again after that movie. Kelroy just says Khazar. That's what I thought. Yeah. Anyone know if it's one of the art books? Saying is this okay? First of all, there's 33 or 35 Frazetta books. But if you're talking about the Ballantine books that were like the Fantastic Art of Frank Frazetta, there's books 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And this is in, I think it's in book 1 or 2. And also you can get the paperback called Back to the Stone Age. This is also available in a print, which I have, a cheap, 11 by 14 or something print of this you can get through. Like if you go to it's either the Frazetta Museum or Frazetta Girls, there's 2 different ownership in the Frazetta family to Frazetta products. And I think Some of them you can get some stuff, others you get other stuff. I don't know exactly what their relationship is or how that works. But yeah, this is a readily available print, and it's been reproduced, and in the very least in The Fantastic Art of Frank Frazetta. And also he had a gallery showing years ago, and there's a big museum gallery catalog book hardcover that this is in. I think it was on sale for $500,000. And this was probably 20 years ago. I can't even imagine what it goes for now. I got a bigger one than that. Here, let me show you. Now, I've had this since I was a kid, so I don't know if you still get them this size or not. That's pretty good sized. But I'm sure you can still order this print off one of the Frazetta websites. So anyway, it's called Back to the Stone Age, or actually Frazetta calls it Mammoth. The book that was on was called Back to the Stone Age, which was an Edgar Rice Burroughs book. It was the first Edgar Rice Burroughs book I read. It was the first Frazetta painting or illustration I'd ever seen. And this is why I bought the book, was because of the cover. So it's true. Ghosts can do it. Oh, I'm going to look that up. I am not familiar with that. It was a painting of Bo Derek and Anthony Quinn in the movie called Ghosts Can Do It. Thank you for that, Craig. I will look that up. That's very interesting. I did not know that. All right. So there's my top 5. What else do we have to do today? Well, there's one thing we have to do. It involves Bigfoot, but I want to make sure I've got everything else. Oh, I want to take a second here and take a look at a little scene from yesteryear that I like to call precious moments from yesteryear. So please join me now as we take a look at the precious moments from yesteryear.
I got 5 pieces of candy. I got a chocolate bar. I got a quarter. I got a rock. Trick-or-treat! Gee, I got a candy bar. Boy, I got 3 cookies. Hey, I got a package of gum. I got a rock.
Poor Charlie Brown. Am I the only one who like really sympathized with Charlie Brown? I felt sorry for him in all those shows because everything's so horrible used to happen to him. Or was he the butt of the joke for you guys? I felt sorry for him, but yeah. I mean, but Charlie Brown, geez. How many holes do you have to cut in your sheet? I mean, I could never figure that out. And just 2 eye holes, dude. That's all you needed. And he just couldn't pull it off. I used to love those, man. Charlie Brown holiday special shows. This one, of course, the Christmas special is awesome. Nomsky says those were giant crack rocks. I see. Marcus with me. He felt bad for Charlie Brown. Jiminy's the same way. They treated Charlie Brown like dirt. They did. And yet he was always the one that had that sort of like intellectual, like he put it all together at the end of the show. And, Linus was, right there with him. They were philosophizing about the nature of mankind or childkind. Henry Jarmick says Snoopy was cool. And he was. Used to like that with the Red Baron stuff. That was fun. And Woodstock. Good stuff. Well, speaking of good stuff, it's time to venture into the world of oftentimes make-believe, but we all so desperately want to believe. But all I need is a good video. And I haven't found one yet, but we'll keep looking. All right. This isn't exclusively Bigfoot. Those of you who were able to watch the launch last Wednesday of Kevin Grevious's book, Gin, the not the drink, but the genie, we went over some of the Bigfoot lore and a few Bigfoot videos. Of course, last week we had Back Fat Bigfoot, which is one of my favorites of all time. This week we're going to do a little Bigfoot and just some bizarre imagery that would be just considered into that loose grouping of cryptids. And let's see. Randy Howell says kick Bigfoot and Jimmy. You think Charlie Brown had it rough? Try being the new guy on the CG King show. That's what Jimmy says. You know, that's true. It's a little rough going, that's for sure. But he survived. I have the classiest music in all of CG. Vince Giraldi for the win. How about that? Pigpen was in the dead. Was he? Matt Barr says, my dad was a big Molly Hatchet fan. We had Frazetta paintings framed in the den. Sweet. I don't think my dad would have understood Frazetta. My mom appreciated it. But my dad, it was just, this whole comic book thing was, my dad didn't get it at all. He was the old school working man. So a pantheon. Now this is kind of weird. Charlie Brown grew up to be a serial killer at a very young age. He heard voices, want. Driving crazy, blamed his mother and father, sort of like Grindel. Wow. He's got some information on Charlie Brown I was completely unaware of. All right, here we go. Let's see here. This is a mutant fish, actually, that I thought was particularly gross. So I thought, let's take a look at this. So this is not Bigfoot, but what the heck is this? You know, Paul Taylor. Where's Paul Taylor as our resident biologist when I need him? Here we go. Take a look at this thing. What the heck? I mean, that's a mouth right there, I guess. Is this just some sort of like sick mutated thing that this guy caught? I mean, this can't be like, I mean, this has got to be like some sort of deformed something or other, isn't it? You guys have any opinions on this? I mean, it looks like it could be like a trout that just, but how is it still alive if it's that deformed? Squib says, don't eat that. That's a cuttlefish. Is that really what that is? I thought cuttlefish were like sort of like little squids. It's an octopus. Really? How do you guys get an octopus? I mean, let me see a little bit more of this. What doesn't have enough legs to be an octopus? It's got like 3. That to me looks like it's a mutant fish. You know, like just a birth defect or some sort of, I don't see how that's an octopus. I think George LaCour's got the answer. Beat it with a stick. Kind of looks like, here we go with the cuttlefish again. Really? Maybe I just haven't, maybe what I'm thinking a cuttlefish is I thought a cuttlefish was just basically a squid and just like another name for a squid. That is like, I'd like to know where he caught it, first of all. That might give us a clue. Geek Avenger, and he's taking shots at his mother-in-law again. There's a lot of cuttlefish talk in the chat, so maybe that's it. Yeah, Jimmy Rice is like, where do they go fishing? Chernobyl? I know, that's what I was thinking. Wait a minute. A trepus. What the heck is that? Is that a thing? Bo Robier says, what the tarnation? That's what I said. Henry Jeremick's Sharktopus, maybe. Tripus. I've never heard of that before, but I guess it's worth checking out. So anyway, that's our first strange weirdo. Aldion's he's trying to work. Oh, there it is. Paul, did you see that fish? Because I want to know what your opinion. Paul, of course, is a biologist, and he might know. Well, as we contemplate that disgusting sea creature, let's watch another bad Bigfoot video, because I can't get enough of these. All right, so watch closely or you'll miss it. It'll be the blurry thing walking just on camera. See, there he is. And that's it. Okay, so hypothetically speaking, you're in the woods, you see Bigfoot, so you rub Vaseline on the lens of your camera, and then you film it for 2 seconds and then film the grass in front of you. Okay, so why is this dude moving the camera down on the ground instead of sticking with Bigfoot? I find this very troublesome. And I don't know we're getting much information. I mean, this could have been his friend for all we know, but this is one of the ones that this is a poor effort. If we had a Bigfoot class and I was teaching a Bigfoot class and you came in with this video, okay, you're getting an F. I expect a better effort. Citizen Ronan, though, clearly real, and he knows. Paul Taylor shocked. He says, I've never seen a blurry Bigfoot video before. An infant offspring of Cthulhu, perhaps. Hellraiser is now coming back saying, actually, it does look like a cuttlefish. I'm going to look up cuttlefish again and see if maybe that's what we got. Aaron is disappointed like a dad would be. I am so disappointed. You guys know that without the proper amount of effort put into your Bigfoot video, you're going to get a very sour reaction from me. I want higher production value and I want more effort. And I'm not getting either one in this. I would never, Eric, ever put so little work into a panel of comics. And the fact that you would even insinuate that, that's for you. And that's also for being 2 hours late to the show. Okay. Well, let's see if I can get anything better here. I hope I have something better. What is this? Oh, this is apparently a video of Groot. So you guys tell me if you think maybe Groot, after all, is real. Pretty convincing video here that might suggest that we are not alone in the forest. So we got this guy here, right? Now, what is going on there? See him right here. Oh, is that not Groot? But he has a cape on. Why does he have a cape on? Go on, keep going. Okay, so we've got this vegetable man, this tree man. Okay, he stands up. He definitely has Groot's head. But I'm not sure I get the cape thing. Do they have Groot Halloween costumes like a little kid could put on and then someone would make a really bad video of it? Is that what we're looking at here? Because look at his little Groot head, his skinny neck. But he has a cape on. Why does he have a cape on? Oh, now he sees the camera and he's like, ooh, better back out of here. So again, the good shot for me is right there. Okay, so you have definite Groot head, but a really skinny neck. And then it appears to be a cape or something. But could it be like right here? That looks like a cape. But could it just be part of his leafy vegetable body swinging in the wind? Green Laser says that is an Ent from Lord of the Rings, possibly. Bell Pepper Guy. That Angela, we may be onto a new cryptid here. Bell Pepper Guy. George LeCour says Spriggan. Iodine 74 because he's a super Groot, Aaron. Duh. I guess. Kelray's is saying that's Captain Bigfoot. So that's the superhero Bigfoot, but he's actually more, he's got the Groot head though. King Groot. There you go. If he's the royal Groot, he would have a cape for his royalness. You know, I give this sort of interesting, I give it a little bit of kudos because I haven't seen this particular cryptid before. Let's see, the Art of Times of James Ryan says, we all carry around 4K capable phone cameras, yet we get 240p image quality. So true. What happens is, on these fake videos is they take them with their phone and they're crystal clear, and then they put them into a program where they can bounce the camera and make it blurry and create one of these unrecognizable cryptid videos. And you would think that just put a little bit more money and effort into the costume and the staging of the whole thing, and then you don't have to blur it up. Then it's more believable. I don't know. That just saddens me. Paul Taylor says, what's the difference between a cape and a cloak? Well, a cloak is more to conceal, right? And a cape is more, look at me, I'm a superhero, I'm guessing. It's a Woodrue. It's Mange Davis. A lot of speculation on this. Maybe it's Sweetums. Sweetums is much bigger than that, Paul. Much bigger. Comics for Life, though, getting serious, says the movement feels kind of CG. Yeah, I think you're right. But again, if you're creating something in CG, can't you do it well enough that you don't have to blur it? I don't know. These guys are amateurs. We're the professional Bigfoot video makers, right? You give us something really good to kind of to talk about here. But anyway, so wherever that was filmed, there may be a Groot. All right, now this would creep Shelley out. It's sad that she's not here to see this. I don't even know what this is or what it's supposed to be, but allegedly this video was filmed in England someplace. So you guys tell me. What you're about to see may shock you. And then again, it may not. Here we go. You're saying, what am I looking at, Aaron? Just give it a second. You can't miss it once it comes out. This is a wasted shot, by the way. We're just warming up. Okay, now watch the wall behind that red car. Okay, at some point there, here we go. There it is. Crawls over the car. There it is again. Is this? Well, we know it's not a giant spider because there can't be such thing as giant spiders because their bodies, they have exoskeletons. They can't support the weight of something that big. That's why tarantula is the biggest spider you'll ever see. But what the heck is this thing? Again, nice blurry effects. You guys have all these like urban legend names for these things. You're saying like trash panda. What is that? Rat says they climb trees, so maybe walls, says Angela. Paul Taylor says it could be a monkey. Someone's baby snuck out, says Eric Guapo. We got a couple people suggesting it might be a rat. Well, that's the interesting thing. If you blur this enough, which it is blurred, it makes it look like it has it's multi-legged, which it probably isn't. It's just the blur from the camera. You know, I can see that as being a rat with a little bit of blurry, because it does look like it has a tail, doesn't it? Boy, can you imagine? I mean, even if it's a rat and this is like where you live and you got those things crawling outside. Jeez. Can you imagine going to bed and there's a big rat sitting on my chest. See, it looks like it has a tail, doesn't it? Oh, that's a good call. That could be a rat. I'm not sure that I want to see a rat crawling down the wall of my building, though. Yes, it is a traffic circle, and Paul's going, that's a large rat. Angela says it could be a rat. Rats climb walls. How are there not trail cam photos yet? I don't understand. There's plenty of trail cam photos, not on this particular episode because I couldn't find any good ones. Eric the Guapo says cloaks are for girls, capes are for boys. Okay. Okay. Too skinny to be a raccoon. It's pretty disgusting, though. But you notice something weird here? Check this out. This whole thing could be fake. How does it get from the wall right to the top of the car? Look at that. Because that wall there's a sidewalk there, and it's like the car is like right up against the wall. How does that happen? So now I'm thinking the whole thing is fake. Because it didn't jump, because if it jumped, it's on the wall right there. It would have to jump straight across to get on the hood, and it did not. Look at that. It just fake. I'm calling it right here. This whole thing is fake. And then once again, they had me going for a second, so I give them credit. But apparently whatever the creature they created there looked fake enough, they had to blur it up. Look at that. That could not happen. What happens right there? Debunked. Now this I'm on to this I think, where is it? Who said it? Bretsky the Great. It's a spider. This is a miniature set. I think you may be onto something, because this looks like these could be toys, right? And then they put it together with the car that drives by here, and suddenly you've got Kellraiser's saying that's what I said. So he's taking credit. Squirrel. No, it shrinks in size as it gets closer to. Does it? Okay. Let's see. Okay. Boom, boom. It does look like it gets smaller, doesn't it? Or it doesn't get any bigger for sure. Boom, right there. Yeah, I think we can probably safely say that is probably a bug on a miniature. Yeah, I'm going to go with that, because that right there is the dead giveaway right there. All right, well, this guy, if he was in my class, I might give him a B, but then when this on first glance, but then that's a C right there, man. You got to solve that problem. Why not just have it go down here and then out from underneath the car? That would have been like it disappears behind the car. And then for a second, like, what happened? Then it comes creeping out full speed underneath the car. That's an A at that point. But yeah, B minus. Or the spider on a camera lens. Oh my gosh, that would work up to a point, but then when it comes across no, it's still in a straight line, isn't it? you know what? You may get an A. That may be exactly what it is. You know, they set up those like, there could be like a piece of glass there and they're filming this and they're dropping like a little bug down. It's crawling straight down. I'll bet money that's what it is, isn't it, guys? It's on a piece of glass, like in front of the camera, and it's crawling just straight down. And that's why it goes straight down on the car and keeps going straight, like in a completely straight line. I think we have solved it. We have debunked it. Who said that first? You get an A. Was it Julie? Yes. I'm all for it. I think Julie's right. Julie gets an A. You get our Debunking the Cryptid Film Award for today. That's exactly what that is, because it's in a perfectly straight line all the way down. Wow. Special effects at its finest. Bretsky says that makes sense. Look, when the lighting flash happens, yes, it's a glass. Look at that. Yeah, Paul's with me. If there wasn't that flash when it hits the car, it would be better. So we got someone across the street with a camera and a piece of glass in front of the camera filming the side of the building, and it drops a spider or whatever insect down and it crawls straight down like that. Ladies and gentlemen, we should have our own debunking show. I feel like this may be the first time we've actually completely solved one of these cryptid mysteries. And that's why we should revisit this real quickly. I always keep this around just to kind of remind us just how devious people are. This, of course, is the infamous Gable film. Okay, so you guys, if you haven't searched this before, to watch the teeth coming up right there. So you've got the teeth right there. As allegedly this guy was attacked by this monster. Now, when this movie first came out, all the experts were saying, that's obviously not a man in a suit because no man could move that way, blah, 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 right? Those of you who watch the show know this is a guy in a ghillie suit. That's all it is. He's on all fours, running like a dog. And when they filmed this originally, it's clear as day. You see the original footage of this, it's perfect. And when they took it into a program, blurred it up, bumped it around so it looked like, it was bumping up and down, and scratched it up so it looked like a Super 8 film, and then released it as a hoax. And he later came clean and said the whole thing was a hoax. But it wasn't till months, maybe years later, because everybody was speculating on the reality. Oh, this is so real and blah, blah, blah. And it clearly is so fake. So you can't trust anybody that claims to be a cryptozoologist because, quite frankly, that's not a real thing. By classification, I could be a cryptozoologist. And you scare Jody if you're here. No, please don't take it as an insult. But it's not a real degree. You go to school and get, a degree in cryptozoology. It's a made-up thing. And so whenever someone starts to say, oh yeah, the Gimlin film with Bigfoot is so real, and you're like, no, it isn't. Oh, no man can move that way. Oh yeah, no man can move that way. Like this. No man can move like this, except there's a guy in a suit doing this. So apparently they can. This is pretty fun. I think more people should do this and put some effort into it. This is pretty good. It's not very long, but again, that's the secret. You don't show it very long, and then everybody goes, oh, that's so real. If you show it long enough, we get, we see enough footage, and then we can kind of figure out the joke. And of course, his follow-up video to this was, there's the teeth again. The follow-up video to this was these cops coming out and finding this guy's torn to pieces body, right? And so he had, some guys, I don't know if they were friends of his that were policemen, or he somehow got some police uniforms, and they dug a hole in the ground. So the guy was half buried in the ground. And so his the waist down, and then they covered him up, and then they had like fake guts coming out from, you know, where he'd literally been bit in half by this thing. And so they released these 2 videos, and you know, everybody thought it was a real thing. And then of course he came out and said it wasn't. And then they made a video on how he actually made the video. So beware the internet. I know it may come as a shock to some of you, but people lie for attention. Spambot says, of course, talking about cryptozoology, it's not real. Why did the degree cost me so much money? Woo. Next week for work, we are doing a quiz on knowing your cryptids. Excellent, Angela. I thought we're real. What a job. What kind of a job did you get to do that for work? Sean Allen's just like, wow. Anyone with a studies major, there it is. Paul Taylor, he's a biologist. He would know. Wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute, Matt. So are you saying you're claiming that you've seen a Bigfoot in Humboldt, California? Is that what you're saying? Less than 100. He said he saw it at less than 100 feet, but I still question it. Could it have been a bear? Or do you think people were messing with you? Julie Pascal, of course, says, if it's on the internet, it must be true. I actually had I'm not going to out someone who actually said that. That actually said that to me once, and I almost laughed in their face. And then I realized they were serious. And so I didn't. Caught myself. They're like, I saw pictures on the internet. It must be true. And I was like, what? But anyway. I think Andino has serious issues that need to be, maybe we'll deal with those. We'll have a psychology segment on the next show. Oh, here we go. No, it stood up, but I think somebody was messing with me. I came running back and 2 of the workers were laughing. Okay, well, if they were laughing, then that means maybe somebody set you up. Okay. See, Matt saw it, but no pictures. Didn't have his camera ready. So we don't have any physical evidence, but Matt saw something. But what? Who knows? Well, you know, it feels like the show's just getting good and now it's over. But I want to thank everybody for joining me. Good times were had by all, at least by me. Please hit the like and subscribe if you wouldn't mind. I'd greatly appreciate it. It helps the channel grow. I want to thank you guys for the super chats. I want to thank you for just joining in the conversation and making it worthwhile. I appreciate you guys supporting me and being here every Sunday so I don't feel lonely. Tomorrow night, Kings, maybe, I guess, unless the Phillies are playing. Tuesday night, the Professionals. I believe Dan Fraga is hosting. And then Wednesday, of course, Graybeards at 1 o'clock, but probably be launching Kit Carter at like 12:30. We'll go into Graybeards, and then I'll go on beyond that afterwards. So keep your eyes open on social media for the links and the announcements. And until we meet again, which will be very soon, take care, you guys, and we'll see you next time right here on Aaron Live.